Good morning everybody, my name's John and welcome to my channel. I've been asked to do this video and it's something that I think is quite important to show everybody. The reason being that I will show a few screenshots of the comments on my video that was uploaded on Monday about a grinding sound coming from either the front or the rear differential gearbox to some people, but it is a differential. And it seems to be caused by lack of grease from the factory. So what I wanted to do was firstly show you the easiest ways to get the access to the front diff and to the rear diff, but also to show you what sort of amount of grease that you should be putting inside. Okay, so I will be fast forwarding through the disassembly part of the video just to make this video as short as possible because you've all seen it before. I've taken the shocks off already just because that's a little bit easier. And the other bits you'll see, you have to take off the shocks, steering arm, this suspension arm here, and then these two have to come off, those two there and these two here, but it's easier just to undo those from the bottom. And then you can lift this whole panel up to get access to the two casing screws below. So let's get on with it. Now you can see you have access to the 6 screws to get into the actual casing. Okay, now that all of the bits have been taken off, the top of the casing has been taken off, actually quite easily. You can see that you get access to the differential part itself. Have a look at the teeth here, just make sure that there's no sort of metal shards, you know, that are broken off or whatnot. Hold one of the rear wheels and turn it and you can have a good look at it, but that looks fine for now. If you do use paper, baby wipe, whatever it is that you use to clean, make sure that you don't leave any particles afterwards. Okay, that's really important. Right, I'm going to get that out of the way for a second because we need to concentrate on this here. So, first things first, give it a bit of a clean. You can see that there's not a lot of grease that they put in from the factory, which is pretty bad. Okay, now, what you're going to see in here looks complicated, but it really isn't, and I'll show you why afterwards, because it's all, it's got little grooves to show you where everything goes back into position. So, 4 screws. Gains you access to the inside. Now, once you lift this off, this one all comes away in one piece. Again, just give it a quick look. Make sure that there's no broken teeth or anything like that, but this one looks fine. Now, I will do this slowly, but I usually just tip it upside down and everything falls out. You have one bar with the 2 cogs, okay, and then below that you've got a second bar with 2 cogs. These bars sit cross on each other. Now the reason why I'm saying it's not very complicated is if you look at both of the bars, they actually have little, let me give them quickly. They actually have little grooves in them. So if you see, if you line up the grooves, it sits perfectly, making the cross. So there's that there. Have a look inside. I'm not going to be doing any zooming in and out today because my camera, I've turned off the auto zoom because it keeps on making a clicking sound. Very frustrating. Give it a good clean inside. I would suggest usually to undo this screw. You hold this, undo the screw and take it all out and clean it properly. But the reason I'm not doing that is because I broke off one of these screws the other day. So, seeing as I'm replacing grease with grease, I don't really see the problem with that. So I am going to use a baby wipe, not on the inside, but just on the casing on the outside. Try not to get like the baby wipe on the inside because it could cause problems with the grease. I don't think it will, but it could. Okay, now these pieces here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, when these 2 cogs are on the end of this, it will fit back into the grooves like so. One there and one across there. So you can't even put it in incorrectly. It's an impossibility. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. Okay. Thick grease. Try and get thick. If you only have access to thin, well then use thin. But if you can get hold of thick, please use thick. Wallop. Actually, yeah. Up about 75% full. This groove is facing upwards. Try and put it down in that position. Do not push the cogs all the way down. You need to make sure that the other bar is fitting nicely in that groove before pushing it down into the grease, because once it's in the grease you won't be able to see it. Now you see that this has got the groove there. That's what's going to be sitting on top, so that has to be inverted. Yeah. You stop having so much coffee in the mornings. Yeah. Hopefully you can see that the groove is sitting on the groove nicely. Push it down to make sure. There we go. And bye bye. Why is that groove not lining up? Sorry, I forgot to mention, is if you see, you've got the 4 sort of pins pointing upwards, and that will push down on the bars that you've just put in. I'm going to just remove a little bit of the grease so you can see where it feeds into. Let's take away some of that grease. pushed it down in the wrong position, believe it or not. I was not paying attention. I had a pretty bad sleepless night last night, so... No. John, seriously, what's up with you this morning? There we go. See, even I make mistakes. But if you've seen any of my other videos, you see that I make mistakes quite frequently. There we go, sitting in position. You have to make sure that this is the 4 holes where the screws are going to be going back into. And let me just clean those up a bit. So in between the screws, that's where the bars are going to go back into. Just make sure that you line it up properly, unlike me. Make sure the screw holes line up. There we go. Now there is a debate on whether you should use a lot of grease, not very much grease, and it depends on who you ask. I am from the camp of the more the better. However, I've used restraint here and only put about 75 in, 75% of the casing amount. Some say 50, some say as little as 25. This is a particularly thick grease, so maybe I should have put in a little bit less, but I don't see it being a huge problem. Use a magnetic one, see if it's any better. Okay. All greased up and ready to go. Now, some may think that that's it. That's the grease section done, but it's not. There's 2 places that you need to grease the differential. And let me show you. That was the casing itself. Make sure you put it back in the orientation that you took it out of, i.e. that way. Now, there we go. A little bit of grease here around the bearing. Anything that's excess afterwards can be obviously wiped away. Let's put some on that side as well. That into position. Now we need some on the gears. Yeah. There are 2 bearings here, don't forget about them. Just lifting up the drive shaft so I can get a little bit of grease underneath the bearing as well. Make sure you put the bearings back in the position that they came out from, or else you will have a new grinding sound. There you go. First bearing fits just after the screw holes, second one next to the actual gear cog. Okay, let's give it another turn, see how it all looks. Okay. I know the saying less is more. I'm from the camp of more is better. Okay, now the reverse of taking it apart. You can see that you now have some grease on the edges. Tighten it up before you wipe that away, because obviously if you use a baby wipe, sort of wipe along that moisture should go in. So for now, I'm just going to tighten it up. Okay, now onto the rear. Again, I've taken off the shocks just for make it a little bit easier. Now, as you see, that whole section just lifts off again, very nice. And you can see how relatively little grease there was. I did wipe some away when I was doing the last video, but you'll see. That's the telltale sign. Some shards there. I have ordered new of this, so I will be fitting that on another video. When you take this differential out, obviously you're going to lift this one up to get to the bearings here. There's a little stopper here. Make sure that you are the one that's in control of that and you take it out rather than it goes flying off somewhere. And obviously that goes there as well. Now, if you watch my previous video, this was, I've got confused on which parts are which. I need to watch that video back because obviously I swapped the diffs of one into the other and back again. So I will just double check that afterwards. Okay, there is an additional bearing here, but I don't think that will require any, if any, maybe a little bit of grease. So, but there seems to be more particles in this gearbox, but I think this is the one that was making all the grinding sound. So there is no play in this gearbox, in this shaft moving up and down. So okay, put that away for 1 second. This bearing looks a little bit rusty. I have, as I said, ordered these, so I'm not too worried about that, but I can still grease it up now. recording stopped because limits exceeded. I don't believe that was 30 minutes, but there you go. Okay, doesn't look like there's any particles in this one. Looking good. I'm going to make sure I'm going to put a lot of grease on these what look like rusted bearings. Excellent. I'm going to put a drop on that, not a lot. No, it's not needed and it's just going to collect dust anyway. Dust and grime and mud and shit. I think a lot of people are afraid to sort of take things apart, and you do have an instruction booklet with your car. You know, there are a lot of things that you can do that aren't too complicated. Beautiful. Okay. Let's add a little bit more. Love it. Now, back together. Remember, stopper back in for the drive shaft. Really? Don't forget the guard. Just double checking that all of the bearings are in the right spot, which they are. Again, screw it down before wiping it away. Perfect. Done. So that's it. That's changing the diff's grease both front and rear in a relatively easy manner. It's not a hard job. You just have to do it systematically. Don't go forcing any screws or anything like that. And just try and keep it as neat as possible. Please, if you have a brand new one of these, I know you don't think it's worth it, but trust me when I say it is, or else you will get the grinding sound at some point. Somebody said on my channel that they got it within 3 or 4 days, I think, which is a real shame. You know, at least mine lasted sort of 3-4 weeks. So please change the grease, or at least add to the grease. Okay, if you like this video, please hit the like button. If you'd like to subscribe, do so as well, and hit that notification bell to hear about the next video. My next video concerning RC cars is going to be revisiting the shocks to see how the olive oil and I believe sunflower oil has gotten on. Okay, have a great day everybody, take care, bye bye.